that it all works out just fine.
And you know what they say about God's trust.
That's not the thing, but that's close. That's close. You've been gone long enough that I think you probably forgot what the thing is.
You know what the thing is?
What?
In the oceans cry, holy.
So did you keep singing that after we left? Like just over and over?
Especially when I got to the beach.
Yeah.
AJ was about to punch me in the face by how much I was singing Oceans. And I don't even really know the words anymore. I've blended those two songs so much that I seriously think that's just a song.
Yeah. I mean, that's how churches do it these days. They like to blend two songs together. So you're in good company there.
Because if you're not being different, you ain't hitting it.
Yeah, you're just the same. What? Welcome to Passive Aggressive Podcast. Real life, real faith, real talk. I'm glad to have you back. While you were gone, Tiffany bought more chickens and ducks and turkeys and stuff.
Which I'm convinced turkeys are crafted by the CIA, dude, because they literally look just like chickens.
They look just like chickens. There's not even like
no
one.
Way you could tell.
I mean, when they get older, they will look like turkeys.
Do turkeys lay eggs?
Yeah.
Can you eat them?
I don't know. That's a good question.
You've never heard of anybody eating a turkey egg?
No. Duck eggs are like a thing that you're supposed to eat, but all our ducks are boys. That's why she bought the new ducks. She went there looking just for ducks, but this lady gave her a sweet deal on turkeys and chickens also. So.
Is there anything wrong with inbreeding your ducks or animals? Are you allowed to do that?
What do you... Oh, like ducks and chickens? No, yeah, you don't.
No. I mean, like, your chickens have babies.
Oh, no, yeah, you can do that with animals all the time. All day, every day.
So why do you think humans can't do it?
I don't know.
Incest, not inbreeding.
Yeah,
That's
the
same thing.
No, it's the same thing, yeah. I don't know why you're asking me that question.
I've just been thinking a lot about it.
Yeah, that's...
I have a cute stepsister.
That's not the same thing.
Well, that wouldn't be bad. Also, I don't have a stepsister.
Yeah, that's right.
I have two brothers, and I don't swing that way. I'm a Baptist.
Yeah, two biological brothers.
I'm a Catholic.
I'm so glad to have you back and talking like this.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
This is good.
I wonder if it's just God's creation, bro, that we can't do that. I mean, look at the Appalachian people. Have you seen those videos, bro? Of those people that have two teeth and they talk out of their nose because there's so much inbreeding?
There was a...
it's messed up, man.
Yeah, this is really messed up. So when I was in high school, I was not a good boy. I talked a lot worse than I do now, if you can believe it. And I didn't come up with this name for them, by the way, but there was a inbred family in the community, not in our school, but in the community, and people called them the Trafalgar Mountain people. but they weren't.
Wait,
obviously, there's not really because there's not mountains in Trafalgar. It was just kind of like yeah.
Wait, like MOUNTIN?
No. But like the idea of like, how the hills have eyes and it's like the inbred.
I don't think that's as bad as you think it is.
It's
but that's cute though that you're like, I used to be a bad boy and then you say something that's not really that bad.
Yeah, but I don't know if I've ever talked about this, not on this podcast probably, but I definitely did when I did my comic book and nerd podcast. We talked about goofier things a little bit, if you can believe it. But I worked at a gas station at the time that had a restaurant in it, like a
Noble Raymond's.
More than that, like a
chicken
place,
the one off 67.
A chicken place in it. But for the mornings, we'd do biscuits and gravy and sausage and scrambled eggs. We did it up, man. And I was early shift, so I was there for the breakfast a lot of times.
Yeah,
and these people would come in and
the mountain people.
Yeah, and this one time,
the mountains.
This one time, it was crazy, dude. And I always think I'm like, there's no way this really happened, but I don't know how my brain could create this memory. But it's so vivid, dude. I was done with breakfast for the day and switching over to lunch, and I remember these, and they would come in every morning, but I didn't know what they were doing because I was always kind of like the clean up and prep guy. And I get up there, I'm cleaning up everything, and they're like, "Hey, you got any more of that biscuits and gravy?" And I was like, "Nah, we're all out." And she goes, "I kid you not." And they're all standing in a huddle around the glass.
How many of them are there?
Probably 5 or 6.
What do they look like? Can you?
They all look the
them?
same. That was the thing. Is they all kind of had this distinct look that they all look the same. And the
the Goonies.
No joke. The lady says, "Oh shoot. If there's no gravy, what are we going to feed this baby?" And the crowd of them separates, and there's this big baby.
Like the Antichrist?
That they had been feeding gravy to. And so then me and my friend that worked there, we nicknamed the baby Gravy Baby. And I kid you not, years later at Lowe's, the Trafalgar Mountain people came in, and I saw them, and they had a young adult lady with them, and I think Gravy Baby was now Gravy Young Lady. And
was she a big young lady?
No, seemed like for an inbred person, she seemed like a healthy girl. And
what a testimony!
Yeah, she came through that. She survived eating what I assume she only ate gas station gravy.
That's messed up, bro.
It was, but I think about like stuff like that, and how I would handle that situation now versus how I handled it then. You know what I mean? Like,
how could you handle that?
How do you minister to those people? Like, I would have probably had a better heart for those people than I did then. You know what I'm saying? Because I just like I didn't see. Like, I was just like, oh, this is, to me, it was funny at the time. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah, I don't even know how I would.
But that's a crummy situation. Like, how did they get into, how did that happen? Like, what started that?
Isolation, I bet, bro.
Yeah, yeah.
Or like, it's like we were talking about earlier, dislocation, or, you're shunned from society.
Yeah. And I remember there were all these, and I don't know how much of it was true and how much wasn't, but there were all these stories and all these rumors, like, they were almost like mythical creatures to people when I was in high school. You know what
like
I mean?
a minotaur?
Yeah, there was like all of these like stories about like they never like, and I don't know if any of this is true, but like I remember one of the stories was like they never washed their clothes. They just wore them till they got too gross and then burned them and went to the donation place and got more clothes. You know what I mean? Like, that probably wasn't true, but that was some story some mean high schooler made up, and then it just, like, became part of the lore.
Dude, high schoolers are freaking mean, dude.
Yeah.
I do not miss that. What do you think about public school, bro? You think you should send your kids to public school as a Christian?
We're getting into this right now, huh?
Call Tiffany.
No, it's weird, man. Vodi Bakum used to have this saying where he said, we send our kids to Rome to be educated, and then we're shocked when our kids come home as Romans. You know?
Yeah, that's a load of baloney, though. I mean, in our culture, I think, because they spend most of their time at school, but you should be teaching them at home.
Right.
The teaching doesn't stop when they get home from school.
Right. And I think that's what he was saying. Like, if we expect, the institution to be raising our kids, then why would we expect them not to be institutionalized? Right. You know what I'm saying?
Well, and then who do you trust? You know what I mean?
Right.
Do you send them to a private Catholic school? I know a lot of messed up kids from private Catholic schools.
Sure. And I know plenty of people that went to Baptist schools that all through their high school years were probably most like getting in trouble all the time. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Like, so I don't know.
Teenagers just have a spirit of rebellion.
And so then when we talk about things like these poor people and where they came from and how did that happen?
How do you know they're poor?
I meant like just like, you know what I meant?
Like poor looking?
Probably, but
but I don't know. For some reason, I was just looking at your face and you looked inbred for a second.
But what I'm saying is, we don't know the situation, but like that has to have started somewhere, and then that's all they knew, right? Like that,
sure,
whatever that culture was, and so yeah, that kind of stuff is scary. I don't know how it happens, but this is a really good lead into where you've been for a couple of weeks, because when we got back from Honduras, or when we went to Honduras, one of the things we talk about is look at the culture around you. How does this define what you think of as poverty? And then understanding that it's not good or bad, it's just different, right?
Yeah, and I would argue that their way of living is better than ours.
In Honduras?
Yeah, their way of... I mean, I haven't seen all of the Latino culture, but I've experienced Mexican culture and Honduran culture, and it's very much more like communal.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, after work was out, people spend time together. Everyone's not driving around. Here at like 5 o'clock hits, it's rush hour.
Yeah.
Everybody's driving, running to get home, or going out to eat, or doing something, or running errands, or this or that. They don't do that, bro. They like run errands like once a week, or they have like, this is going to sound sexist to some people, but like the women, they go to the store throughout the day and they take care of the kids and they wash the clothes and they take care of the house. And then end of the day rolls around and they all hang out outside. I'd go drive to pick up the team and almost everybody's sitting outside their house. The teenagers are out on motorcycles sitting outside the pulperias and stuff.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like,
a friend along those same lines, you talk about like the women going and doing their like taking care of the house and taking care of the kids and going and doing the errands. So in the end of the day, when the guys get home from work, everybody can be together. That was actually a kind of a thing that to Tiffany kind of felt like slightly racist. That one of our friends said that he said he didn't want to marry an American girl because American girls have jobs and don't like take care of their house and take care of their families, which was, but that's the image of like the culture for them.
It's not just the image. I mean, I think it's the truth. Women in our culture work to pay somebody to do what they would do normally.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that sounds like sexist or whatever, but I think women fulfill some roles better than men, and men fulfill some roles better than women.
Yeah.
Now, there's going to be exceptions. There's always going to be exceptions.
Sure. Yeah.
But from what I've seen in Latino culture, it works. You know what I'm saying? It's not like some slave servitude, because at the end of the day, the wives are hanging out like the husbands are hanging out.
Yeah, yeah.
They're spending time and relaxing. They're hanging out with other women.
Yeah.
At the mission, it's women together hanging out. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Spending time with kids in their maternal nature.
Yeah.
Anyways.
But that's fascinating that like culturally there, that wouldn't be sexist to think that.
It's proper there.
Yeah, yeah.
And here it's not.
Yeah.
And here what is normal, or what is, I keep thinking of when Paul, this is such a good defense against like the gay Christian thing where he's like, men will exchange natural relationships with men and women the same. There are natural relationships we have with our biology, our lives, our way of living. There's a nature to us. And then we try to corrupt it, and God just gives us over to it. Yeah. We want to have our own king. We want to have our own thing, our own way of living, and we figure it out. And now we're like, instead of my wife's getting the privilege to stay home and to take care of the house, now because of the economy or the structure, the culture, America,
the expectation,
United States, America has made, you have to have two people working in the house so that you can pay for daycare.
Yeah.
So that you can pay for people to cut your grass, or people to clean your house, or people to do the work on your house. Instead of your husband, their labor is cheap. Those guys aren't getting paid a lot.
Right.
But they have a lot of guys working on one project at a time. They're out helping each other, and they work on their own stuff. Yeah. Those guys know how to fix their own stuff. And if they don't know how, they know somebody that knows how, who is willing to help them in their free time. It's just like people serving each other, women serving each other, men serving each other, families serving within their own families. Now, don't get me wrong. I think there's a huge, from what I've seen, a huge infidelity culture in Latin America.
Maybe, yeah. I haven't.
So this is something another kid told me. So one guy told us that the American women suck. This other guy told me the Honduran women suck because all they want is sex. And I've noticed you don't see very many women your age that don't have a kid out there, do you?
No, that's true.
So there's it's just a lot of family. So they're rich in that, to go full circle.
Yeah.
They're rich in community. They're rich in, their kids don't have tablets. They're not on Wi-Fi. And those things aren't bad in themselves.
Right.
But they're not distracted. They have trajectory to things that are important. They have roles, and sometimes, they're a little too boxed in. I think the evangelical church down there, I think, is doing a bad job of being legalistic, very legalistic.
Oh, yeah.
But there's good and there's bad to it. Just like there's good and there's bad to the material things we have here.
Sure.
But how do we define poverty? How did you define how did your let me hear what you think about poverty first after going to Honduras, how it changed.
Well, so I've been there 3 times now. And you would think that would somehow stick with me, right?
Right.
But it doesn't seem to. Although yeah, like right now I feel, dude, there's been times since I've been back, my bank account has been negative at time.
Yeah.
You know, and that happens. But then I look around and I think like there's a difference in that. Like that's the culture sometimes here that we expect, not negative bank accounts, but like the idea of like credit, everything on credit kind of thing. Whereas like I have a really nice house. I have food that's not just like necessity. It's like novelty food.
Snacks.
I have snacks. I'm not just eating 3 times a day. I'm I have access to go to,
or just 1 time a day.
Right. I have access to go to a gym that I pay to go to.
Car.
Yeah.
Gas.
But I also have debts. I have, you know what I mean? And like they may not have debt, but they don't have anything to show for, not they don't have anything, but they don't have all of the like creature comforts that we have here to show for their work. But again, they probably don't have debt like we do.
And do they need those creature comforts? Right. Do we need those creature comforts?
Would I rather be like 0 debt, but also not have all the stuff I have?
Yeah.
Or be in the situation that I'm in? And which one is right? And then AJ says this thing every time when we talk about it. It's not that one is right and one is wrong. It's that they're different.
Right.
And that is such a hard thing to keep a hold of when you come home.
Yeah.
Because we get back into our comforts. We get back into the things that feel natural to us. The things that feel like this is how it's supposed to be. And then I'm like, okay, I'm not worried about, I've got debt, but I'll get to it and things like that. Because I'm in a nice air-conditioned house. Or, when you're in Indiana, sometimes it's air-conditioned, sometimes it's heated all in the same day because it's weird.
You have hot showers.
Right. I have hot showers. Dude, that is...
Think about you could flush more than one piece of toilet paper.
Yes.
You don't need a trash can next to your toilet.
So this really crazy thing happened the first few days I was here.
You double wiped and went to the trash
yeah. The toilet paper roll... I bought 2 big of, this is crazy. This is the most American nonsense thing I've ever. I bought 2 big of toilet paper rolls for the toilet paper roll in the one bathroom we've got right now, that it doesn't fully fit on there. And the first couple of pulls are like really fighting because you're having to like really spin that thing. And that made me laugh so hard because I'm like, I'm inconvenienced by how the fact that I have too much toilet paper on the roll. And that was like, it made me laugh because like, that is such a crazy thing.
But in Honduras, you're wiping your butt with like 1/8 ply.
Yeah. You're like, I hope that this does the job.
Yeah. Your fingers slipping through the toilet paper.
Yeah. But instead
you're pulling a, what do they call Mormon?
A dingleberry?
A Mormon?
But then I keep finding myself like being inconvenienced or uncomfortable with stupid stuff and then like laughing about it and be like, man, this is dumb.
Bro, this being my first day back, I am just like so like zen.
Yeah.
Zen.
Not like Zen's like the tobacco product, but
I am just so zen from living with less.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? My life was so simple there, bro.
Yeah.
I worked. I came home. I laid in bed. I watched some Netflix movies. I cooked dinner. I took a shower. And I did the same thing the next day.
And you weren't worried about like getting in the right amount of hours or whatever. You know what I mean? Like this silly, this and that. Like,
dude, at my job, I'm literally waiting for the day. I'm spending the whole day waiting for the day to be over.
Yeah.
I'm counting the time. I'm making sure I take my lunch at a good time where I feel like, I try to take my lunch a little bit later because if I do it later.
The second half isn't as long. Yeah. Dude, I remember those days.
So I'm like, but there I'm like, I get up at 7:30. I get to work with Arnold and Luis, and I'm sure that would wear off after a while. But it's just like, there's something to look forward at the end of the day, and the day doesn't feel grueling. And I was doing way harder work there than I do here. I'm talking about mixing concrete by hand, push mowing. This cat just climbed in the fireplace. Yeah, I'm trying to get her out there. Push mowing like acres of land on hills, bro. And I just felt fulfilled, man. And those guys in Honduras can outwork the mess out of us. But it's different. Again, like America is a lot more white collar, I think, now than it. People have this idea of the United States that like it's all white collar and it's always been white collar.
Yeah.
It wasn't like that for a long time. I mean, the Industrial Revolution, I was reading this book and it said, I told you about this earlier, 40% of the world lives on $2 or less a day.
Yeah.
The average American lives on, I think it said $60 or less a day. United Statesian.
Yeah.
But it was because of the Industrial Revolution. And what was happening during the Industrial Revolution, it was all blue collar. All these guys were blue collar. All these dudes in the United States were working hard, busting their butts. Our grandpas will tell us about that. Our great grandpas will tell us about that.
I mean, not mine. Mine are all gone, but
yeah.
No, I get what you're saying. Yeah.
But now we're more white collar because we've gotten to that point in civilization where blue collar is less necessary.
And even there's like a new thing, no collar. Like think about all the like the YouTube thing. Or like being an influencer. That's like the dream job for all these kids.
Isn't that crazy, bro?
Yeah.
Imagine your grandparents thinking about something like that.
Yeah.
I mean, you would have had to been like an actor or like a singer, and they were few and far between. Now we have tons of singers, tons of and it's like, where's this money coming from?
Yeah.
So you look at the United States and you look at people spending $600 on a Justin Bieber ticket, and then you go to Honduras and there's people that don't have clean water. You know what I'm saying? So it's like,
and entertainment like that in my lifetime has changed drastically. Like I think about like wrestling events. Dude, I used to go to wrestling events all the time. I've gone to like 3 WrestleManias. And now if you looked at a ticket to a WrestleMania, you would have to like get a loan to go. That's crazy. But yet they still have people going. Like, where's the money coming from?
That's what I'm saying. And again, it's not like a good or a better or worse thing because that's what we're used to. So I'm not like condemning people because I watch Netflix. I spend money on I'll spend $70 on a video game.
Right.
But $70 in Honduras can go far, bro.
Yeah.
That's like a week of work for some people. A month of work for some people there. Yeah. So it's just different. And you need to be careful, I think, when we get back to not be like, all right, I'm never eating again.
Right.
I'm never spending money on something I enjoy again. It's just different, man. There's pros and cons to both.
And I was talking to you about this, this other podcast that I've been listening to that you actually turned me on to, this theology and church history podcast.
Yeah, super good podcast.
Yeah, really good. Timothy Easley is the And you were telling me about it, so I've been listening to it nonstop, dude. And one of the things he says is he talks about like how everybody wants to be the first century church, right? But nobody really wants to live in the first century.
No.
And that's the rub, right? Like that's the trade-off that we have is that we live now and we get to experience things that are really cool. And yeah, we want to have this like experience that the early church had and all this stuff, but realistically, they would kill to have the opportunities and the tools and the resources that we have.
Well, would they?
Well, they probably wouldn't think that we were very good Christians, but I think that's part of the whole, like what you're talking about not being like, well, I'm never going to eat again, or I need to sell all my stuff, or things like that. Is like, no, live in the culture that you're in responsibly.
But I wonder though if there's some things in their culture of the first century that they didn't participate in.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
Like I wonder if like social media for us, if there was an equivalent to something like, I mean, I guess like going to the pub back then.
Yeah.
The pub.
Well, so he does talk about how like there were these certificate, like you had in Roman culture, you had to make sacrifices to the pantheon gods.
Right.
And that's really what got the Christians in trouble in the first place, was like, it wasn't that they didn't care if people were Christian, because like Roman culture, they loved gods. Like the more gods, the merrier. So yeah, you can worship Jesus, but also you got to do the rest of the stuff we do.
Yeah.
And so they're like, you like come and sacrifice to Athena or Zeus or whatever, and you had to have certificates that you did those things. And he talks about this, and he says that like the trouble for the church came. Most people would like get persecuted for it, and some of them would survive, some of them would die, but they'd be like, then they're a martyr, right? Or if they're tortured for it and survive, they're the ones that survived, and they've got this huge testimony. And then there were other Christians who would just sacrifice the idols, but be like, it doesn't mean anything to me because I'm just doing this to survive, but I don't actually like worship those gods.
Yeah.
And those gods aren't real, so what's the trouble in doing this thing, right?
Right.
And that like caused a rift with the church, because they then are like, well, these people are lying and cheating to get out of getting killed, when this other Christian just like died for their faith. So how are those things equivalent, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then he said there was this even more gray area where you had to have this certificate saying that you had a sacrifice. But paper and stuff back then was kind of like
expensive.
Well, it was expensive, but it also wasn't like very fancy, or like now we would have like a seal or something or mark. So they were basically, some of them were just forging the documents saying that they did the thing and not actually doing the thing, and still being fine.
Yeah.
And so then it's like, well, how is that right? You know what I mean? But also, is it necessarily wrong? I don't know. And that he said that was the kind of struggles that the church had. Now we're like, what kind of songs should we be singing? And that, I don't know. It's crazy because it is different.
Yeah, I don't know, man. I mean, I think we need to have a deeper dive conversation about this, because I just have a feeling we don't really see eye to eye on this early church topic, because we won't get too far into it, but I do see the correlation you're drawing, where we want to have the spirit of the first century church, but we also want to have plumbing.
Yeah.
Like you said that earlier.
Yeah.
Like we want to have hot water.
Yeah.
We want to have lights in our house and heat and AC, and we want to have a car. We don't want to have to walk to work.
Right.
Especially if your walk's an hour. We want to have supermarkets where everything's accessible and easy.
Well, I was thinking like the missions and the mission trips in Acts, right? And they're traveling for weeks on foot or months to get to a boat, and be on a boat for years to get to the next place. But it's like, we can do that in a day.
But again, it was different though. It wasn't harder for them necessarily than driving, because I remember I was just reading in Acts, Paul was going somewhere with Luke and some other people, and they chose to take a boat. Yeah. But Paul's like, I'm going to walk. And he just walks. So so I'm assuming they take a boat, so it's a long distance. And Paul's just like, I'm going to walk.
Yeah.
So it's like, it's just different. It probably wasn't the end of the world for Paul to just walk, to travel like that, because he grew up doing it. He did it his whole life.
Yeah.
Everyone around him did it. For us, when we go to Honduras, I get gassed out walking up a hill when it's 80 degrees outside and we're in a mountain, because I'm not used to this.
Right.
If I have heavy stuff to carry, I take my truck, get it as close to the heavy stuff as I can, and then take that heavy stuff to where I need to take it.
Yeah, yeah.
I don't carry it up the mountain because I can. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
I could, but I just don't, because that's not what we do here. We try to make things easier. When we are pouring a driveway, we call the big truck that has the stuff pre-mixed.
Yeah.
We don't need I don't have a wheel. I haven't used a wheelbarrow in a long time.
Yeah, yeah.
I haven't dug a hole with a shovel in a long time.
I remember this one time I worked at a grocery store when I was a kid. I mean, I was like 14 or 15, whatever the legal, I don't know, bare minimum legal age of working is. And I worked.
If you're Muhammad, it's 9. Sorry.
I worked at a grocery store, and I remember like, I was doing something that was not like protocol by the book, and the guy who owned the grocery store was like this old school like stickler guy. Like everything had to be done the way that he always had done it.
Yeah.
And I always try to be like an innovator. Like, how can I make things different in a way that still honors the tradition or whatever, but is keeping up with the times. So I had done something, I don't remember even what it was, to make my job easier. And he saw me doing it. He's like, "What are you doing?" And I was like, "Well, I had this." I was like, "I had this teacher in school that told me one time, work smarter, not harder." And I thought I was being clever because that's the thing that people say.
Yeah.
He deadpan looks me in the eyes, and he just like did not get what I was saying. Didn't think it was funny, and he goes, "Why can't you do both?"
Bro, what?
And I was like, "What?"
My friend Tanner says if you want to know the best way to do something, find the laziest guy on the job site.
Yeah. But he didn't like that. He was like, you need to be smart and also work hard.
Yeah.
And he's like, So it is. You're right. The mentality is different. Of like, if I can do this easier, why would I not do it easier?
Right.
Yeah.
But it just is what it is.
Yeah.
It's not necessarily worse because we have the material availability to do that.
Yeah.
And they don't.
Right.
You know what I mean? Not everyone has a truck out there.
Right. Not everyone has lawnmowers. They like cut the grass
with weed eaters.
Yeah.
And that's not just the mission. That's most people.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, it's just different, man. But I'm semi glad to be back. I'm pretty upset to be gone. I know I've only been gone for 3 weeks, but in 3 weeks you get pretty adjusted. Or I did anyways. So, it's time to get readjusted back to here. I got some work to do. I'll be going back in October, November.
Yeah.
Anybody who's listening, I'm accepting donations.
Yeah, no, for real.
At
that's
Zach Poppy Chulo at cashapp.com.
Dude, we do need to do something. You need to have like a Cash App, or you need to.
I do have a Cash App. I'll drop it on the next one.
Yeah, and we also need to probably like do a GoFundMe or something, so you have some way of like.
Can we do a
taking
Make-A-Wish?
Donations? That's not the same thing.
My parents were incest.
Yeah. Oh.
Cut that out.
You're the new gravy, baby.
That sounds like an Austin Powers character, which I have not watched because I'm a Christian.
Right. That's inappropriate.
Right.
Oh man. So, man, we've talked about a ton of stuff, and we've not even gotten through this whole thing, which is incredible to me.
32 minutes, bro. That's not a bad place to end.
Yeah, that's nothing to scoff at. But we're really more of those hour boys. But here's something to talk about. This is important. We need to talk about this. We kind of talked about it in the car, but why not talk about it on the air where everyone can hear? So you're pretty sure, right? We can safely say
80%.
You're pretty confident that you're going to be going into the mission field in Honduras.
Yeah.
Yeah.
At least for a time.
Yeah. At the very least for like 2 months, right? Yeah. So the elephant in the room, this podcast is probably not going to last forever.
No.
It'd be very difficult to do over like Honduras and all that.
Yeah. Well, we don't know.
We don't know. We could try it out. Or I could try to do like, this podcast I was just talking about and run it solo. I literally told you when I first started listening to that podcast that I didn't like it because I can't stand to just hear one person talk. I don't know. I don't know that I would like that, but could be something. I don't know. Or maybe
do something with your wife.
I could. Yeah. We could do something like that.
Do something with Chris.
I love Chris to death. That would be unbearable for everyone involved. I don't know if anyone wants to hear me and Chris talk about.
You guys would be debating about whether Kamala Harris has clean fingernails or something.
It would be crazy. I don't know. There's all kinds of kinds of options.
I think what I want to do first option is to try it out, see if we can record. Maybe I can record from my phone over there.
Yeah.
Or I also had the idea of maybe like us doing like a gaming sort of thing or like a streaming sort of thing. Because if I moved out there, I would definitely take my Xbox.
Oh, for sure. Yeah. You'd be the only person in Honduras with an Xbox.
Actually, where I got my haircut, the guy had a PlayStation.
Did he?
In the barbershop, yeah.
That's sick.
So eat it. Yeah, I would have my Xbox. So we could do some type of like, I don't know. I want to do some type of, I obviously don't want to stop like hanging out with you or whatever.
Of course.
So we'll just have to
switch playing Fortnite with the fam.
No, that's a super loser.
Nobody plays Fortnite anymore.
We'd be playing like Resident Evil.
It's not co-op.
Yeah,
I just beat Resident Evil 9. It was great.
You beat it?
Yeah. Well, you know what's funny is
just beat it.
During the when I did the kids questions with Pastor a couple weeks ago, one of the kids asked me what my favorite video game was. But without context, I couldn't, in front of the entire church, say that my favorite video game was Resident Evil. Like, that doesn't, yeah. But if you understand it, it's
the
like...
horns grow out of your head.
It's actually not that bad, but it's just it's a zombie game. It's not even a zombie game. It's a game about, corrupt...
Here we go. He's going to do the D&D thing.
It's a game about a corrupt system that creates a disease to control people. Essentially. And so that's what it is.
Dude, Resident Evil 7, the plot on that one was crazy at the end of it.
Yeah.
Where you go into that. Did you play that one?
Yep.
Where you go into the yacht and there's all that black goo and they're turning these people.
Using that mold to turn people into.
Yeah. That game's wild.
Yeah.
That's probably one of the longest running game trilogies. Is it called a trilogy?
Well, no, it's only a trilogy would be 3. It's like a whole after, I don't know when you get to 9, but it's on 9, plus it has side ones. So Code Veronica was not numbered. So that was one that was outside of there. And then there was
Village numbered?
Yeah, it was number 8. Yeah. There was Resident Evil Revolution or Reanimation or something like that. There was 2 of those. So there's different ones that are outside of the main series, but then also inside the main series there are 9 of them.
Yeah.
So that's a lot.
I think what we could do is play story games so we have time to talk. I'm not trying to do Call of Duty.
Yeah.
Because that takes too much attention. What I'm trying to do
not is for me. I'm that good at it that I don't need.
Well, it'd be hard for you because you'd have to get in the Baja Blast hits in between.
Yeah.
And I'm just taking tokes off a bong. It's just you just hear water burbling. I'm just kidding.
You just hear Baja Blast burbling.
You're smoking a Baja Blast bong. Oh, dude, I made a hilarious joke to AJ. You know that water fountain he has on his on his front porch? I said something about actually, was I on the phone with you when I made this joke about the 10-foot bong? About you having to bring it back?
Yeah, I think
in a
so,
suitcase.
Yeah.
Anyways.
Yeah, because AJ had us bring down the gate
arm
that was so inconvenient.
You want to know what's crazy? It doesn't work.
No.
Yeah. The gate after a week of using it, it stopped. It opened halfway. And don't tell anyone this. I hit the gate with the van.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it was nighttime. It was 9:00 at night.
Is that why it stopped working?
No.
Okay.
The gate barely opened enough, so I barely hit the gate that didn't open.
Yeah.
Because I had to slip in there.
Yeah. Don't tell anybody this, so you talk about this on the podcast.
Oh yeah. Look, man, I checked the van afterwards. You can't even tell.
Yeah, no, it's fine.
You know what I'm saying? And I hit the chain. There was a chain on it that would. One of the things I'd be doing if I moved down to Honduras is discipleship is one of the things AJ wants me to do, which I think is pretty cool. With Arnold and Luis.
That'd be awesome, dude.
Which would be hard. And with the nighttime security guards at the Oaks, he said that.
Oh, that's cool.
And somebody I've already started with is Angel.
Oh, man, I love that dude.
Angel is super he's in the evangelical church.
Yeah.
So he's no tattoos, no...
Right.
No bad haircuts, dress nice, this type of stuff. And I had some really good conversations about that topic with him. And I just feel like there's so much more we could talk about. And I don't think he has that there.
No.
The people at Mission on the Move, Hesse, AJ, the directors and like the missionaries there love the Lord 100%.
Yes.
But some of the other, like the workers, they're not so in tune with God. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So Angel doesn't really have that outlet outside of his family in the mission.
Right.
And he's 16, you know, he talks a lot, and he was like showing me Roblox videos and stuff. And at one point he's like, we're sitting there, he's like, "You're not bored, are you?" I'm like, "No, bro. Can I go pee real quick?"
Yeah.
But that kid is full of the Holy Spirit, bro. He really loves the Lord.
Yeah.
And I don't got everything figured out, and I can't teach him everything, but I feel like we can learn from one another.
Yeah, that'd be awesome.
You know what I'm saying? So I'm looking forward to that opportunity probably the most, because I got to spend a lot of time talking about important things with Luis, which was hard because he doesn't speak
the language
English.
barrier. Yeah, but talk about first century versus now.
Yeah.
Google Translate, dude, it's the real deal.
I would argue people learned better in the first century.
Oh, I'm sure. Most of them already spoke like 3 languages.
We're gonna have we need to take notes, and we need to have a debate about this topic, bro, because I'm about to catch on fire like Beetlejuice.
Speaking of debates, can I real quick chime in with, I saw in interaction with our buddy Isaac and somebody on Facebook. So I started a new Facebook. My other one got deleted.
Right.
And I have like maybe 20 friends on there or something.
Yeah.
Where I used to have like 2,000. So the problem with that is Facebook, when it's trying to like brainwash you with an algorithm, is like, when you only have 20 friends, it's like, here's what all 20 of those people are doing, interacting on Facebook. So I get like, see where he's like commenting on stuff that is completely unrelated to me. And he's getting this debate with somebody, and he was like talking about, he said, I remember when he says this to somebody else. He says, "I remember when I asked you genuinely about the Baptist doctrine, and you told me we just eat together a lot, and that's all you need to know." And I was dying laughing. But you know what that did?
That seems legit.
You know what that did, though? That really challenged me. I have not had this conversation with Isaac, by the way. But seeing that comment that he had made me challenged me to be like, I need to figure out like really, really what the Baptist doctrine is, and like lock in.
I thought you were non-denom.
I mean, you know,
you're kind of almost non-denom.
Yeah, but
you have Easter egg hunts, bro.
When people ask me what it means, like why am I a Baptist or whatever, I need to be able to explain that. And I always thought that I could.
Why are you a Baptist?
So we definitely don't have time for this.
Do we have a cricket soundboard?
When we talk about early church stuff, we can probably talk about that. Part of it is the believer's baptism thing is very important to me, and that is a Baptist staple.
What, that baptism is just an outward profession of faith?
Not that it is just an outward profession of faith, but that it is something to be done by someone who has already called upon the name of the Lord.
Who cares about the Ethiopian eunuch?
Right. He says he believes, and then he wants to be baptized.
Baptized immediately.
Yeah, but I'm saying like...
Baptized for the remission of your sins.
Right. Yeah. And that the two means of grace are baptism and...
Knife and fork.
Baptism and communion.
Wow, Baptists believe that?
Yes, yeah. Yeah. And then also...
Baptism is a means of grace.
Yeah. But also, and this is the one that would where you would definitely disagree with me, hardline disagree, and this is where
women pastors,
the Orthodox would disagree, and the Catholics
dogs go to heaven,
is independent local church autonomy, where like in the Baptist denomination, I don't answer to any other Baptist thing. Our church,
don't you though?
I meet with them, but they can't come in and be like, you're not acting Baptist enough, so we will take your church away from you. That is something that can happen in some denominations. Baptists, the local church, each individual church has their own governing body and autonomy within their congregation and their leadership.
So if you're corrupt, then what happens?
Well, that's where good leadership is necessary inside the church locally. Does that make sense? So like, now the problem with that, and I've seen this.
Right.
I literally was talking to somebody about it today.
We're thinking of the same thing right now.
The problem with that is some pastors will then build their own team.
Right.
That's all just their yes guys.
Right. There's no authority.
Hopefully at some point the congregation, because the congregation also has its own governance essentially, that like they trust that the leaders that they put into place are going to govern correctly. But if they don't, the church as a congregation, the body, can vote to remove those people.
Do you think this is structured in the Bible this way? Or do you think this is a Western concept?
I do think it is primarily a Western
it's like thing. Democracy.
Yes. But
which the Eastern religion would be more monarchical,
right?
Top down.
Right. And so I would argue that neither one is more biblical than the other.
You don't think monarchical hierarchies are more biblical than where in the Bible do we see a democratic people vote? Normally they're elected by God.
Right, but I'm saying like when we look at like the servant leadership model, that a monarchy would not fall into that.
Well, yeah, we don't have to dive too far into that.
we could go on and on.
I don't think it's necessarily the worst thing. I think it's just maybe could fall victim to corruption.
Sure. But those are the three things that like I hang my hat on in the Baptist tradition that like really matter to me. Mm-hmm. That would not be like that. Those are the things I like. There's some other Baptist stuff I could take it or leave it, but those three things really. Oh, and then this is the other one you're not going to agree with me on, is the supremacy of Scripture as far as over church tradition.
I agree with that.
Right, but
yeah, I agree with that.
Now there are some Baptists that take that way too far.
Where church tradition is nothing.
Where church tradition is nothing. Church history is
nothing. Which is impossible to live out.
Right. Refuse to read the church fathers and only read like John Calvin.
Which is a church father.
Yeah. Right. But like they don't go far enough back. You know what I'm saying? And so that is a little, I don't feel good about that. But that's not the way I see it. Like I see it as like Bible has final authority. The scriptures have final authority. But we should also like understand church tradition so that we can see how the early church viewed the scriptures. Does that make sense?
Sure. So be honest with me. Does it make you cringe when people like do the knife and fork Baptist thing?
Yes,
or they say stuff like that?
It does. Because
it makes me want to bang my head against a brick wall.
Because that is the thing that like
it's corny.
But ultimately that's like what like someone genuinely saying that as like this is all you need to know about the differentiating thing about us. That's what kind of like set him off. And that I would agree that is frustrating because especially I assume based on the conversation that this was somebody when he was like young and formidable that said this to him. Yeah. And it's like we should be able to like I want to be able to tell if some 6th or 8th grade kid comes up to me at our church and asks what it means to be a Baptist, I want to be able to make that clear for them.
But wouldn't you?
And not just be like, well, we just have more fellowship pitch-ins than anybody else,
Which there is something good about that.
Oh, I agree. And that is something I like about Baptists is how much we long to like get together and have a big meal. That is
You want to know what's funny about that though is Isaac's church. The Russian Orthodox church he goes to, does that from what I've experienced, every time I've been there, they have a gathering afterwards.
That's awesome
with like coffee and food.
Yeah,
so they low key do it more.
Yeah, they don't make that their identity.
Well, because it's naturally their identity.
Yeah.
It's not like a shtick that they're trying to uphold, which I feel like is what it is in the Baptist church.
And done in the right mindset and for the right reasons, that actually reflects the early church better than almost anything else.
The early church was
because
communal.
Communion was not just breaking bread and drinking the wine in that sense. It was actually like coming together and doing that as like an event, as a meal. And that was real to them. And that it was like, it wasn't just, this is part of what we do. That was the thing that they did. And
one more tidbit. Are we getting close to leaving here?
Yeah, we're good.
One more tidbit before we leave. I hate when I'm on like YouTube Shorts and I see a video of somebody saying how to eat biblically. You know what I'm saying? They're like
eating,
eat like Daniel,
dates and nan bread.
Yeah. They're like, here, try this pita gordita crunch that Daniel ate. It's like, bro, what are you talking about? Olives don't go on pita bread, bro. Like, what are we on about?
They can't. They roll too much.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah. That's good, dude. Have you ever seen one of those cartoon sandwiches that has like the olive on top, like a Scooby-Doo cartoon, and it's like 6 feet tall?
And that kind of looks good, though.
Yeah, but impractical to eat.
Yeah. You know what I've seen a lot of in Honduras was club sandwiches. Almost everywhere I went had a club sandwich. Isn't that weird?
I thought that was strange too.
And it's just called a club sandwich.
Yeah.
There's no like Spanish for it. Just club sandwich.
Yeah, that is strange.
Yeah.
It's kind of like how we have like Chinese restaurants here, or it's like the equivalent of Taco Bell there. It's like, this is what Americans eat, club sandwich,
which is that's like a sailor meal, bro. That's like Christopher Columbus ate club sandwiches, bro. I don't know anybody. Well, Frank got a club sandwich.
That's so funny,
and he's like 95 years old.
Frank was looking sharp today. He was dressed in a suit. He looked good. He was like looking sharp.
I love Frank,
man. I did too. All right. Well, that's I think that's a wrap for this one, big dog.
That's a wrap.
Yeah. So you know what we say. God's truth won't back down. And neither should you. Stay focused. Stay aggressive.
Cut it out.
Stay relentless for God's glory.
Amen.